Hello friends, it's Amber and thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I have missed you all so much and I've missed filming. I took a little bit of a break unintentionally, had a bunch of stuff going on, so I did not mean to be away that long, but I'm back now. I cannot wait to share all the fun spring projects with you. So let's just jump in right away to today's video. I'm gonna do a full tutorial on this. This is perfect for any type of paper that you have, but I'm making it into like a vintage spring theme. I made these fun little journals and I'm telling you, these take like no time at all. They're so easy, but I wanted to include another little element here and I'll show you that in a second. Before I show you the journals, this is the paper collection that I'm using and it is so beautiful. It's called Grow with Love and it's by Graphic 45. So I'll link this below. This is new for 2024 and I will link it below because you're gonna wanna pick this up. It's so pretty and it's vintage, but at the same time it has all the spring colors. So that is the paper collection I used, but instead of using like the stark white paper, I'm using some coffee dyed paper. And this is all beautifully coffee dyed. You could also use tea dyed paper. And it is really not that hard to coffee dye or tea dye paper. It's just kind of time consuming. So what I did is I ordered mine on Etsy and supported a small business. So I will link the Etsy shop below that I ordered this from, but it's nice and crinkly and vintage feeling and so beautiful and coffee dyed. Perfect to journal on. So here's the journal. I have it closed with seam binding and I used my favorite seam binding from MyScrapcabin shop on Etsy. And let me tell you, her spring collection is so beautiful. I'll insert a picture here. So these two collections happen to be the 1970s spring and the spring break. So they've got all the gorgeous colors. I'll link her shop below as well. You know that I love using seam binding, especially in vintage projects like this. So I just closed the journal with some seam binding and I made this cute tag. All it is one of these plain shipping tags and I made it all cute for like a little bookmark for the journal, or you could journal on it itself on the back. But I did this beautiful image and I'll show you the ink that I used. It's so easy. You know, I like simple, easy projects, so this stamping right here is not overwhelming at all. And I used some beautiful sage green seam binding up here. But here's a close-up. And I used this stamp right here from Hobby Lobby. And it was half off. So I really, really love this. And I'll show you where we could also put this in the journal. I thought it was cute kind of placing it on the front. Here's what the journal looks like. It's very crinkly because of the paper and I love it. So here's the front and the back. So again, these are so quick and easy to make. This measures 5 by 7 and here is the inside. So on the inside I made like a little faux seed pocket, kind of go with the spring theme. And I just stuck a journaling card in there and it's like a little postcard. You can just stick it right back in the pocket and then you can also stick the cute tag in the pocket as well. So that way when you close the journal, the seam binding will be on the top and that looks so cute like that. I just added some of the coffee dyed paper and I thought this would be a great journal to just jot down like what your dreams and your goals are and just things you want to do, things you're looking forward to. And then I put a piece of the scrapbook paper in the middle and I just put some of the stickers throughout from the paper collection. And there's the middle and you could put like any memorabilia in there or pictures. And then there's 4 more pages of the coffee dyed paper. And then here's the back cover. And isn't that so simple? It's so cute. I love how it turned out and it's so, so, so easy. So let me show you this other one and then we'll get started on the tutorial. this journal, I'm using, instead of tea dyed or coffee dyed paper, I'm using avocado dyed paper, and it gives it like a peachy pink distressed color. So I also ordered this from that same Etsy shop that I'm gonna link below for you. Let's go over the paper that you will need for this journal. So the cover piece is going to measure 10 by 7. The inside middle piece that we're going to add in there measures 9.5 by 7. Then, so this piece here is going to be the little seed pocket that we put on the inside cover, and this one measures 4.5 by 10. And then this is your spine piece, and it measures 7 by 3. So along with the pattern paper, you're also going to need the filler paper. So I'm using coffee dyed paper here, and I'm using 4 sheets that measure 9.5 by 7. So then I used a shipping tag, and I will link the ones that I got below. I got like a bunch in the pack. So I'll link those below. And other than that, you'll need some glue and a long reach stapler. Now, don't be intimidated by this. I promise you, it is going to be one of your favorite tools in the craft room if you pick one of these up. This is the brand that I really love, and I will link it below. I use this all the time. So this is optional. You don't have to use a scoreboard, but I like to use it to make my lines nice and crisp. So I'm going to put in the piece that's going to be for the cover, and this one's the one that measures 10 by 7. So I'm going to put it in on the 10-inch side, so it's 10 across, and I'm just going to score this down the middle at 5. So be really gentle with your score line at first to make sure you don't rip the paper. So that one is scored down the middle at 5. I'm just going to set that aside. And the only other piece I'm going to score is this one here. This is my 3 by 7-inch piece for the spine, and I'm just going to score it down the middle at 1.5. So now that we have these scored, I'm just going to lightly fold this in half, and I'm using like the pattern side for the cover. So I'm not going to crease it down with my bone folder. I'm just going to use my finger to kind of keep it a little bit rounded in there. And this is going to be my cover. Isn't it so cute? So what I did with these journals for the other ones, I used like the more busy pattern for the cover, and then the more subtle pattern on the spine. But you can do whatever you want. I'm just going to fold my spine right in half as well. Same thing. And then I'm going to take the piece that's going in the middle, and I'm not going to score this. I'm just going to fold it in half. I like the less busy pattern to be in the center, so when you open it up to this. So that one's folded in half. And then I'm going to take my coffee dyed sheets, but before I fold these in half, I'm going to get my corner chomper. Look who's back. My We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper. Finally, I have been trying to get my craft studio all set up, and I finally found my bin full of all of my chompers. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to round all the corners, and I'm going to use the 1/4-inch side, but you can use whatever rounder you have. Just make sure they're all in line. So then I'm just going to take all the pages and fold them in half. Keep them all together. It's really easy. And I'll just set that aside. So now I'm going to bring in my cover and just keep it folded in half and round those corners with the 1/4-inch side also. I'm going to link everything that I can below for you guys. This is my favorite corner rounder. It's the We Are Memory Keepers, and there's a 1/2-inch and a 1/4-inch side. So I love using the 1/4-inch, and it just gives it a nice finished look. Same thing for the inside page. I'm just going to round the corners. I also want to mention that we're going to be using some lace. This is optional. You can use lace. You don't have to use anything. You can use rickrack, ribbon, whatever you want. But I'm going to be using this lace, so I'll show you that in a second. But let's go ahead and put this together. It could not be easier. So the first thing you're going to do is just take your dyed pages and find the middle and stick that inside piece inside the middle. These all have the same measurement, so they should line up perfectly. And then you're gonna take the whole booklet and stick it inside the cover. So what you're gonna have is a little room here for these pages on this edge, because we cut them slightly smaller than the cover, but the length is gonna be pretty much flush with the top and bottom. And that's all that's to it. You already assembled your journal. And here it is. You can add as many pages in here as you want. This stapler that we're gonna use, it can staple like 30 pages or something. So this is just meant to be super simple for the spring season, and that's why we're gonna do these. You can mass produce these in any paper you want for your craft fair, for gifts. But once you have all those pages nestled in the cover like that, bring over your stapler. I'm gonna slip this in, so this is the outside of the book, and you're gonna find that middle fold and do a staple near the top, in the middle, and near the bottom. I don't measure this, I just eyeball it, and it usually turns out. The reason we're doing this on the outside is so the flat staple is on the outside, and the little prong side of the staple is on the inside. So just line this up the best you can. So I did one on the top, and let me show you how that looks. So there's the staple right there, and then I'm gonna slip this back in and do one near the middle. And then one near the bottom. Okay, so all three of my staples are on there. So then you're just going to fold this up, and you basically have your booklet all bound. So here's the journal so far. Isn't it so cute? You could stop right here. This is perfectly adorable, but we're gonna put a little spine on there and decorate it up. Here's what it looks like so far. You've got all your pages in there. Here's your middle page. And then all these pages. So now I want to put the spine on, and how it's going to look is just like this. Isn't that cute? I'm kind of bummed that it hides the cute little boots, but that's okay. It just depends how your image is laid out. So let's go ahead and put our spine on. It's so easy. I'm going to take some wet glue. You can use any wet glue you have. This is the Tombow Mono Aqua liquid glue. I'll link this below also. I really love it. So I'm going to get the very edge with a light bead of this glue, and then do all the edges just with a very light bead of that glue. And don't glue the spine in the middle, but fill in the little panels just a tiny bit with some more glue, very lightly though. So then you're just going to grab your booklet, and using wet glue makes it to where you can move it around a little bit to make it even. So you're just gonna basically sandwich this right on the spine. Make sure it's lined up with the top and the bottom. And I'm actually going to pull out my little, this is just like a little craft mat in case the glue seeps out. But I'm just going to press it down and let the glue dry for just a second. Once the glue is dried, we are gonna add the lace right here, but before we do that, I wanna add our cute little seed pocket to the front cover. So that's where this piece comes in here. This measures 10 by 4.5, and there's no measuring with this. So all you're gonna do is take this and fold it up until you have about 1.5 inches up here. So just fold it up and then crease it down. It's basically as easy as that. So then we're just gonna do a couple things. So you can take a 1-inch circle punch or whatever circle punch you have and just punch in the middle of that bottom panel like a half pull notch. See how that looks? So now it looks like a cute little notch right there. And then you're just gonna put this down like this and use some more of that wet glue to the very, very edge of just these two side edges. So there, and just go to as far to the edge as you can. And there. So then just fold that up and lightly press it down, and you have yourself a cute little seed pocket. So while that's drying, I'm gonna choose one of these. I can glue it right on the front. I think these are so cute. So let's do this yellow one. So what I also like to do to make this look like a true pocket, so I have this, since you know I found all my We Are Memory Keepers Chompers, I have the angle one, so I'm going to use it on the large angle and punch it down so it looks like the flap of a little seed pocket. And I'm going to glue it down just like this inside the album. So to make sure this stays really well, I'm going to use my really strong Scor Tape. I'll link this below. It's my favorite adhesive. So now that that's all sticky and covered with glue, I'm going to take my journal, and on the inside front cover, I'm going to glue this down. So I want to make sure this is laying flat, and just make sure you center it and then stick it down. I'm just using my bone folder to press down the glue. And then you have yourself a cute little pocket you could put goodies in. Okay, so now what we're gonna do with the cover is put the lace right here. So easy. This is the way that I have found best to get the lace to stick and stay. So you can use a hot glue gun if you have it, but I'm just gonna use this Scor Tape because it's very, very, very strong. And so I'm gonna lay that down. Basically, I laid it down halfway onto the cover, halfway onto the spine. And then just release the backing. And on top of that, I'm gonna add some wet glue. So I'm just gonna do a thin bead of wet glue on top of that Scor Tape. So then I'm using this from Hobby Lobby. This is the lace, it looks like this. You can use any lace you want for this. And I'm just gonna measure the length of the journal, lay the center of the lace onto that glue. So I'm gonna start at the bottom and make sure the center is going right down on that glue. We might have to trim some off. Then I'm just gonna take my fingers and just lightly press it down like this. So we have a little excess, so just turn this over, just cut that right off. Okay, so now our journal cover is all done. Isn't that so beautiful? I love how that turned out. Here's a close-up. So the next thing we're gonna do is so much fun, and it's gonna be a little bit of stamping. So I have not used ink for so long. I love it though. I have so many, I love buying it. I love the different names of the colors. So this is Tim Holtz Distress Oxide, which is just like an ink, and he has the most unique color names. So the one we're using, that is the one that I've been using for this pretty stamp here, is called Seedless Preserves, and it is absolutely beautiful. And then if you see on this one here, I don't know if you can make it out, but I distressed all the edges just with some light distress ink. So that just means it gives it like an aged look around the edge. I give it a little bit of distress. And this one is called Antique Linen. And we're gonna use this to age the edges. So I'll show you that in a second. But first, let's get this inked up. So we're just gonna take the Distress Oxide and Seedless Preserves. And I'm just gonna ink up this way. Instead of doing this, I'm gonna take the ink and actually run it all along that stamp. So it's nice and juicy and it's gonna give off a really nice image. I am a total, just simple stamper. I am not advanced in any way. I hardly ever stamp, but I think these images are so pretty to just do in one color and just leave it like that natural. So you're just going to take your stamp now and kind of center it on the tag. At the middle, make sure you're not moving that around. The top, the bottom, and just press it as hard as you can to get a nice, clean, crisp image. Ooh, it turned out really pretty. I love, love, love how that turned out. So here is the stamp image, and there it is. So now that the ink is dry, I'm gonna take this distress ink right here in Antique Linen, and it looks green, but it actually is very light, kind of vintage brown. And what I'm gonna do is just get the edges. So I do like a circular motion, so it's not such a straight, abrupt line. So I hope you can see kind of how that's already given it like an aged look. And I'm just gonna do this to the whole tag. So you can kind of see the two sides. So this one has like an aged look and this one's still white. I love an inked look. I hope that you can make that out. I'm gonna try to grab, I'll compare it to this one. So it looks more vintage, and you can use this as like a bookmark in your journal or just a cute decorative place to journal, like here on the back. But let's go ahead and add some crinkled vintage dyed seam binding on this to make it even more adorable. So I think for this, I'm gonna use maybe, I think I'm gonna use this beautiful rose petal color. So I'm just gonna snip a little bit off of there. So to do the tag, all you do is just find the center, just like this, and do a little slip knot. So stick that through there. And I love seam binding because it's so fluffy and very forgiving for those of us who don't do bows that well. So there it is. I just did an easy slip knot, and then I'm just gonna tie it in a bow. So there's our cute tag all done. So before we close the journal with seam binding, let's do a final flip through. Here's our cute pocket. You can stick the tag in there, just like this. I love how that looks because then again, you can close it and the seam binding is sticking out of the top. There's also tons of different cut aparts from the collection that I can stick in there. Just trim them down to size. And then here is the final flip through. You can stamp in here, you can add stickers, do whatever you want. Here's the center of the journal, and then it continues on. So I love how this turned out. We're just gonna close it with a simple seam binding closure. And with this collection, again, it came with like die cuts. This collection came with these super thick cardstock stickers, and I know I'm gonna use this one. It's gonna be so cute. But you can stick these stickers anywhere throughout the journal and then just journal around it. So I'm actually gonna put some extra adhesive on the back of this. You don't have to do this with Scor Tape, but I like to just put a little extra adhesive because the adhesive that comes with it just isn't that strong. So these little green boots remind me of my nephew Bryson. He had some like this when he was really little. And my mom always thinks of him as well with these. So I'm just gonna stick these cute boots right here, just on the corner of a page. But you can decorate and stamp this up with as many stickers as you want, or stamping or whatever. Even die cuts can be glued in here. But I'm just gonna stick those right there. I think that's so cute. And to close this, I think, let's see what color. I think I'm gonna go with this green color. So this one is Moss. And it is absolutely my dream color. I love this color. You know we don't measure seam binding around here. I just cut off a length that I estimate. And then I'm just gonna do a simple loose closure on this. I just twisted that around, and then I'm just gonna finish it off with a bow. So there's the simple closure on our journal, and then I'm gonna take our cute image tag and stick it right in here like this. So if you're giving this as a gift, you could even like put someone's name on here if you wanted. So here is our completed journal. I love how it turned out. These are so cute. Imagine doing this with like fall paper, Christmas paper, different spring paper. You could even do these for Easter, or if you have a craft fair, oh my gosh, people would go crazy for these image tags on the front. It just gives it a little something extra. And of course the seam binding. So I hope that you enjoyed this project. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. This is the absolute best community ever, and I love reading all your comments. I appreciate the support so much. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you'll give this a try and make it your own. Give it a little twist of your style. And thanks again, everybody. I cannot wait to show you my next project. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.